Hello, everyone, and welcome to May the 6th regular regular legislative meeting of the town of Vegreville. I call this meeting to order at 3:01. Seems to be a bit of an echo in here. Or is it just me? Okay, just me. Okay, I will look for a motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Lemko makes the motion. Is there any additions or deletions? Seeing none, all those in favor, carried. I'll need a motion to adopt the minutes of our last regular Ledge meeting. Councillor Rowaller makes the motion. Any errors or omissions within those minutes? All those in favor, carried. Okay, so we're going to start off today. We have a delegation from the Eastern Alberta Regional Victims Servicing Society and Melody Littell. Yes. Step right up, Melody, and let's hear about what your organization's all about.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having us. I'm Melody Littell. I'm the Director of Operations for Eastern Alberta Regional Victim Services. And we've come to give you some information about the services that we provide in your community and the regional model. And I have brought with me.
I'm Doris Pinrock. I am the Assistant Director of Operations for the South Subregion, which Vegreville falls under.
And we've also brought, they seem to get everybody up here.
I'm Ava Stasiak, and I am a court and support navigator within Vegreville.
And you work right in Vegreville?
Yes, I work within the RCMP detachment.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you.
So we would like to start with a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the land on which we operate in Eastern Alberta District is the traditional and ancestral territory of many Indigenous peoples. This includes Cree, Dene, Nakota Sioux, and Métis people who have lived on and cared for this land for generations. We recognize the deep historical significance and cultural connections these nations have to the land. We are committed to fostering relationships built on respect, understanding, and reconciliation as we continue to serve all the communities within the region. We honor the resilience and strength of the Indigenous people and their ongoing contributions to the community. As part of our work with victim services in partnership with the RCMP, we strive to support all individuals, recognizing the importance of equity, healing, and justice for all. Oh, there I am. On the next slide. So our mission and vision are all about supporting individuals who've been victimized or experienced a significant tragedy. We believe that by providing support, resources, and information in the aftermath of these events is the best way to help our clients. By helping them regain control and empowering them to make the decisions that they need to make and helping them navigate the complexities of the criminal justice system, we are best able to help them restore their sense of stability and peace. Our next slide. Our core values reflect the importance of our beliefs that everyone should be treated with respect and dignity. By treating people with empathy and compassion and safeguarding personal information, we work to ensure that our clients feel safe and heard, and while providing services in a non-judgmental manner. I've done this a million times.
We're not judgmental.
Perfect. It's essential that we foster trust in our communities and with our clients to help build those relationships. On our next slide. So on the back of the little flyers that went out is you might be able to see the map a little better, but this shows the Eastern Alberta RCMP district. And we provide supports to everybody but Fort Chip, Wood Buffalo, and Lloyd that's not listed on that map. The little red line at Smoky Lake, St. Paul, Elk Point divides our north and our south subregions. If you want to go to the next slide. This shows you that we cover a great deal of territory. These are the detachments that are included in both those areas. So the north has 10 detachments in the subregion, and Doris, who's with me, covers the 14 in the south. And you guys are in the south subregion. So our staffing structure includes a central office that's located in St. Paul. And this houses the administration staff. So that group is the CEO, myself, the assistants, HR, finance, and our operations admin, and our community and culture safety worker. Our job is to work and partner with the RCMPK division, the Government of Alberta, work with the board who sets payrolls and or not payroll, policies and structures. We have our payroll there, our HR, and we work to manage and oversee those functions so that our girls like Ava in our detachments can do what they have to do and support clients. The next step is our court and support navigators, and they are in our local RCMP detachments, and they provide day-to-day service and supports to the people on the grounds, like our clients, and community members who have questions. They can call the detachments and talk to them directly. We have volunteer advocates in some of our communities. You have one advocate, nope, 2 advocates now, as of last week. And those would be people that could respond to call-outs in emergency crisis situations. We also have volunteer board members, and they are there to provide support and governance to our CEO and help oversee the program. And the slide after that. So we work with a no wrong door approach that ensures that we have the ability to support anyone that comes to us, either phone or walks through the door, that we can get them to the resources they might need for their particular situation. With a client's consent, we would reach out to those agencies and provide a warm handoff, like, here's this client, this is what they're experiencing, whatever they allow us to provide to the other agency. With no consent, we will give that information to the client that you can use one of these resources and then allow them to reach out on their own. So we're working very diligently to ensure that clients have information about the supports available to them, whether they want our help to make that connection or they want to do it themselves. Our supports fall into 2 categories: general support services and criminal justice service navigation. So our general support services are designed to provide a comprehensive range of assistance to victims of crime and individuals who've experienced significant tragic circumstances. We start with a needs assessment so we can better understand what our clients' needs may be and what they're looking for resources. We provide referrals to the Victims Assistance Program if they're qualified, which is a specialized service that was given by the government. And we can help fill in those forms because sometimes they're a little hard to get all filled in and sorted out, and we can assist with that. We'll help with safety planning with the RCMP, but the RCMP leads that. Our job is to be there with the client, help make sure that they understand the resources of that they are available and next steps that might happen. But it is an RCMP-led process. In the aftermath of a crime or tragedy, we offer emotional support and debriefings. And please remember, our staff and advocates aren't counselors, so we cannot provide counseling. Our criminal justice service, our system navigation is where our employees shine. This is what they specialize in. Our services are designed to help victims understand and navigate the criminal justice system. By providing our clients with the information about the Canadian Victim Bill of Rights and the Victims of Crime Protocol, we help ensure they are aware of the entitlements they are allowed under legislation. When eligible, we provide victim impact statements, requests for restitution or community impact statements, and help the victims understand how to make their voices heard in the justice system. Part of the support we offer are court updates and explanations of the outcomes of those, and the explanation of the outcome of the case. So if something's been put over, Ava would call her clients and say, so this has been put over to this date, or whatever that next, it's been set for trial, that means this. So it's to help our clients understand the process. We then offer a court preparation service if they're subpoenaed or if they're attending, so that we can ensure that they are ready for what to expect. And we can provide court accompaniment. So our people will go with our victims that have been subpoenaed to court and provide support so they're not there alone and they feel supported. We can coordinate meetings with the justice service personnel like the Crown and make sure that they are getting the correct supports that they would like And we can also canvass for things like testimonial aids so that they can feel that they are able to participate in the system. We offer emotional support and court debriefing after the event so that they are able to help. It helps them process what just happened and what happened with their process in court so that they understand what's been going on. And at that point, we can also help get them to other supports if they need them, like a counselor. We operate in an in and out of scope eligibility. This is our eligibility. This is broken down into criminal, undetermined, and tragic circumstances. Criminal matters include crimes against people such as domestic violence, sexual assault, homicide, property theft. So we provide direct supports to those. Undetermined matters are those that are ongoing in a criminal investigation where it hasn't been determined whether or not it was a crime when it was referred to us. So that could be a motor vehicle accident that they're investigating or a house fire. Tragic circumstances are sudden or unexpected deaths and notifications of next of kin. So we will provide supports on files that are under investigation. If a charge is laid, we will continue on through the court process if our clients want that. If it is determined that there were no charges, then we would hand them off to another agency. So if, let's say, they were investigating a fire and it was determined that it wasn't arson, we would hand them over to their insurance companies, Red Cross, Alberta Works, whatever organizations that might help with that. Counseling if that's what they need. These are the out of scope. So we cannot give advice or fill in civil forms such as divorce, parenting, separation, mental health, restraining orders, or peace bond. We can direct you to where to find the forms. We cannot fill them out. We are not lawyers. We cannot give legal advice, but we can connect you to agencies that might be able to help, like Native Counseling, for example. General disputes fall into these categories, so this could be neighbor disputes, landlord-tenant. In these cases, again, we would refer to the appropriate agencies for them to work that out with that agency's help. Natural disasters are out of our scope because every community has a disaster plan, and we don't normally factor into the disaster plan. Matters involving CFS, like Child and Family Services or mental health, are also out of scope. So at this time, we're looking to create working arrangements with organizations that have trauma dogs, so we could get those to attend court with our clients, especially children victims, or when they're making statements. We are working closely with Alberta Works and other community support agencies. Some of our communities have established a Friends of associations that will be there to help us if we have somebody needs transportation. Our first go-to is Alberta Works, and we will work with them after hours or during the day to get our clients the supports they need. Maybe it's a hotel room and transportation to the city because there's been an incident and there's no shelter available. As we are not counselors, our staff is not equipped to do group debriefings or the type of in-depth debriefings that your fire department might need. We can't provide that kind of support, but we will also not provide support for educational circumstances like healthy relationships to school kids. That is where we would call in our shelters or family violence workers who specialize in those things. We have a community referral form. Any agency in your community can refer people to our services. The form can be requested at info@earvss.ca. We will send that referral form out to that agency, and they will get their victim or their client's consent and send it back to us, and we will then connect them with a local navigator like Ava, or those people can just pick up the phone and call. The client can pick up the phone and call at any time. We have an after-hours number, and this number has been provided to all our CMP members in Eastern Alberta District. All calls come to that one number that it is answered by a navigator. So Ava takes a turn 1 week out of the year, possibly 2, where she will answer all the calls that come into that number. At that point, She will determine if it meets our eligibility to be supported in that moment. And if we have people that are available to go on call, she can dispatch people to go out. On the next slide talks about our process. So Ava, that 1 week call is tier 1. So we have one navigator that's trained through the training that's provided in their actual work, and they answer the phone for all 24 detachment areas in the after hours time slot. They then help work with the officer to determine, does it meet eligibility? Does it need somebody to go on a call if they have that person available, or can she deal with it over the phone? And often cases are she can provide information and support over the phone. Maybe she's working with Alberta Works to get a hotel room and a taxi for the next day. If it requires someone to go out, that is our tier 2. And most of those are volunteers and staff that chooses to volunteer their time and be on call. So if it's for another area and there is staff or an advocate that's willing to go out to do that notification of next of kin, she will then notify them and the officers and set that all up. But it's important to note that we will not respond if the victim is incapacitated by drugs or alcohol, if they're having a psychotic episode, if the offender is still on the scene of the crime or still running around, and if the scene's not secure. So if there's weapons there, if the officer's not available, if there's inclement weather, because that never happens, and if there's scenes contaminated. Other unsafe conditions could be an MVC on the side of the busy road and no lighting and no way to ensure that our person would be safe. All of those could come back and be referred for support. So, but they might get it the next morning. So, but that's us in a nutshell.
How long has this been around?
So we have been operational since October 1st of last year. Victim Services has been around 30 some years. And it used to be that every place that had victim services, like I know Vegreville had a victim services that had a board that was local to Vegreville. And your board, it was comprised of people from here. You fundraised or got funding from the government and ran that way. And when the government changed the way the program was built, at that point they defunded boards, and then we all went under the larger heading. And we've been operational since October 1st. So we are at about 7 months in, and we're just zinging along. Most services haven't changed. What changed was the management and the oversight of doing the book work, dealing with both K Division and the government. All of that has been removed, and central office deals with that. And our people are allowed to just do their job and not have to worry about fundraising to do their job.
So, if Ava is at our local detachment, what do we see as the biggest challenge for our community right now?
We could use more advocates, more volunteers that would be willing to go out on calls and to be there to support the public when there's crises happening in that moment. Because we can't legislate crime and say you're only going to commit crime between 8 and 4.
Tuesdays, yeah.
So that I think would be the biggest challenge. Anything else?
And do you folks deal with much like people that are homeless? Do you get involved with that at all?
No, those are things that we would refer to the other local agencies.
Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
So the question is that would Ava, you have all agencies at a moment's notice for yourself? You know who to contact in our community, as in like FCSS, social services?
Yeah, so it's based on everybody's particular circumstances. So if somebody is having, I know we don't deal with mental health a lot, but if that does come up in, say, a domestic violence or sexual assault, then I'd say, hey, have you thought about counseling? Is that something that maybe you would be interested in? And depending on their circumstances, their financial status. I know that FCSS is getting the grant back for counseling. I would suggest that they go to them because it is a lot cheaper, or going to mental health. So it's just based on what everybody's dealing with and going through at that time.
Okay,
We also have a list
okay,
on the database that anybody, so if Ava got a call and needs to provide support in Barhead, the agencies are on that list.
okay.
So they can go on when she's looking up information, and we have a list on the database of all the supports in our area.
I see, okay. One thing that was really curious is about when the family violence, let's say it happens in the middle of the night, that's a call that you would get referred from the RCMP that went out to deal with it possibly, or? Okay, and then you would, I see here you'd find access for them for a hotel room or something, is that something you would do during that evening? Or when that call comes in, or?
Yes, we'd offer them Alberta Works and call them and say, hey, we have somebody that's leaving or trying to flee domestic violence. Can we try and get them a hotel for the night? Can we get them a taxi to a shelter if that's something they're more comfortable with, to try and be removed from the community so they're in a safer environment?
Okay, what happens in the middle of the night when Alberta Supports isn't available?
We have their 800 number,
Oh, okay,
and so supervisors such as Doris and myself also have access to their supervisors.
I see,
So no, ours, like Ava would get on the phone with Emergency Alberta Works, and they would work through whatever that issue is and getting them a hotel room and
okay,
transportation. So we also sort of carry and know which hotels they'll work with.
I see,
Is something else we're compiling. Who do they work with? So when they get on the phone with Ava and say, so you need a hotel, we go, yeah, we have the Ramada, we have Best Western, we have, and then just spiel all the hotels. And they will say, okay, we work with this one.
okay,
But it is a process that can be accessed 24 hours a day.
all right, okay, thank you.
Okay, so basically, did you ever hear that? Oh, go ahead.
So earlier you're mentioning that you needed some advocates in the community.
Yes.
What does the typical qualifications mean, or what do you need? Plus, is there some training associated with being an advocate?
We do a lot of training. So they would have to, everybody has to take the government training. It's called AVS 101, and it's standard. They can't participate if they don't take that training. You have to want to do it. Our advocates will go out and participate in events that are traumatic. So they have to want to, and they have to want to be there to support people. But yes, we offer training. There is the government training, and then we have a whole list of other trainings that we need them to take. So they could cover the range. We have what's called a skills lab, so that if you haven't been to a notification of next of kin in 6 months, you work through the skills lab with us so that you can like recertify yourself to go out and do that. So we have extensive training set up for them.
Okay, so basically, we went from victim services that had local boards. The government dissolved that process, set a central office, and put people out in the field that are not tied to a board. Is the funding still there, but the boards are no longer in place?
We are, our board is, we do have a board. Our
But
board
not
is
a whole bunch of
not-
regional boards all over the place?
not 24 boards, we have one board.
Okay,
Made up of people from around our zone. If you are interested in volunteering for that, there is a process that you can find on our website, because they're always looking, as far as I know, for more support. We are completely funded by the government, so there's no, we don't have to go out and fundraise for our jobs and try and work casinos and do whatever that is. So yes, when they changed that process, that's what it became. So there's east, west, central, and south. Each corps has one board that is totally funded by the government.
go ahead, Councilor Curtis.
Thank you for the presentation. This is awesome to see and hear that. So we weren't sure exactly what was going to happen after the boards were broken down, and I don't think we've heard much about it until right now. So excellent that you're out. How much dealings do you guys do with our FCSS department? Because I know they're always looking to recommend and get people in contact with the right organizations, and I know they've had potentially some victims of domestic violence and that have come to their door. And I'm just wondering if it has to be necessarily tied to crime, or where does the tragedy part start and the crime part start?
We have been working closely with FCSS, and those are relationships that like Ava has brought over with her, or in areas where we don't have those established, we're working to establish that because they are one of our close partners. Anyone can pick up a phone or walk into the detachment, and Ava at that point determines, does this fit our eligibility? And if not, then she hands them off to FCSS, who might have different services. Or if FCSS gets them, and that client does not want to come to the detachment but is willing to talk to her, to Ava over the phone while they're present, she can deal with that right in the moment. So we will work with people and both agencies. It's just how do we connect with that person, that client, and our job is to get them to, we would refer out to FCSS.
Right. I guess another thing is FCSS has recently tried to do a community engagement type thing with victim services or people in crisis. I wonder if you guys had the invite, was that reached out to you? Would you be interested in?
We 100% would be interested, and it would go probably to Ava and our community and culture liaison, who's in charge with bridging a lot of those relationships on the ground.
Perfect. And I guess what we're trying to establish is it's a game of who does what and what is the flow chart of what happens. I think with what you guys have set up here with your criteria, and that might be a good avenue.
Yeah. So we are a referral agency. So if that person is given to us as a referral, whether they're a victim of crime or not, we would assess the criteria that's there and then refer them to whatever agency they need support from. Is it the women's shelter? Is it a family violence program? Is it FCSS? Is it a counselor? And we will give them the options that we have. If it is a crime and they are the victim of that and want support for the court part, that is where we kick in with our services, like extensively. And it's follow-ups with the court dates, explanation about what's happened, and working to have them prepped. And do they want to write a victim impact statement? Because that is their say about the crime to the courts.
Well, thank you very much.
Go ahead, Councillor Roy.
Well, thank you also for the presentation. Makes wonderful sense. You haven't been here relatively that long. I know October feels long, but not if you're completely rebranding and changing over a program. So I think it'll take a little bit of time for people to maybe necessarily know exactly where you guys are. It's very encouraging for all of us as council. You can see some of our questions were directed around where someone gets referred to, because in the past, our FCSS became the land-on spot for everybody. And I'm very excited to hear you have 1-800 magic numbers that don't get allotted to us, because we try to call these wonderful, I mean, I'm just gonna be blunt. We have people call programs like Alberta Works, and it's like, sorry, it's after 4, and then they land on our emergency lines. So I'm thrilled to hear that some route they've decided somebody's worth talking to after hours, because it's not the typical from what we've necessarily seen. So I'm really excited, is the point that I have to this. I do have one little question, just you were saying about community referrals, but in general, when it comes to people who are impacted by court cases, it isn't a scenario where your Crown prosecutor gets you guys to reach out, or
We have that happen.
Okay.
We work with the Crowns. We work with RSMP. We work with the Crowns. But if the Crown can refer people to us at any time. So we're working with them also, because we might not have gotten that file.
right?
Because in the moment when the RCMP, when you're in the middle of your crisis and they say, do you want victim services? And assuming they've explained what we do,
Yeah,
a lot of times people are like, I just want to go home, leave me alone.
yeah.
So you've just declined our service. They don't have to send us a referral. So then it goes down the pipe, and finally you're at the court prep stage, and the Crown's going, let's put you in with victim services. And you're wondering why you didn't get connected.
Yeah.
It's because, honestly, in that moment of crisis, and having been there, in that crisis, I just want to go home. I just want to
And
go.
I can greatly appreciate that. We had a personal situation within our family of where it did end up in court case at the end, and we would have been on the victim service side. We had wonderful support from what was at the time the local boards, but there wasn't that next step, which would have advised us or helped us at any point during court processes. And then in my day job, I work with the Member of Parliament's office, and one of the things that I can tell you, and these are prior to October, so these are not saying these are happening now, but in the past couple of years, there was a lot of times that people were coming after the fact saying they didn't understand about their rights to put in the restitution, to put in victim impact statements, and then they'll come to us after to ask if there's anything we can do, and it's past the time.
It's past
So
the time,
I think
yeah.
this is wonderful, and it's great to know that it's a thing. I would suggest maybe sending, I'm sure you probably have done this, but if you could, again, sending, packages of your information potentially to the local MLA and MP offices, because a lot of times people reach out to those offices first, and if they know to direct people back, it might help that a little bit too, but
We will
greatly
get that
appreciate it.
written down and get on that, because that's a good, nobody's ever suggested that. That's a good suggestion.
Thank you.
I would just like to say one thing about the regionalization. I know a lot of times when we hear regionalization in rural Alberta, we don't always have good thoughts about it, but the beauty of this program is, in the middle of April, in the St. Paul area, we had a mass MVC fatalities, multiple fatalities. And so the beauty of the redesign was we got this call. We didn't necessarily have maybe people on call on shift for tier 1 for tier 2, but we mobilized. So we called in St. Paul navigators, we called in Lac La Biche navigators, we had Two Hills mobilized and on scene. We had Vermilion on standby, we had El Point on standby as well. Everybody working to help the family. So that was the great beauty of this. Whereas before, if it was, I used to be frontlines in El Point, I would have to call, St. Paul, hey, can you help me? They would have to ask their detachment commander, they would have to ask their board. It took a lot to get things mobilized. Now it's just that call, and we got people there supporting and helping. So God forbid something happen in Vegreville, Ava's not alone. We're calling in Towfield, we're calling in Vermilion, we're calling in Two Hills. I might even jump in a vehicle, Mel might jump in a vehicle, and we will be here to assist her and your community.
Well, okay, so if there's anybody that's watching today, we're looking for some navigators in this region right now, and I want to thank you all for what you do every day. And Ava, do you live in town here?
Hilliard.
Not far.
Is it still there?
I'm still there.
Good answer.
I went to an auction there when the hardware store closed down. I still got 300 pounds of nails at least. Anyway, again, thank you for the presentation, and thanks for what you do every day. And I hope that the community understands that there is people doing this role, because we haven't heard very much about this. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
I'd like to say one more thing. Ava, if you run across anything you have any questions about and don't know where to go, like when it comes to town council, we all are very approachable. And our number's available all the time, so fire away anytime you want.
Honestly, I'm usually super nervous talking in front of people and being today's fine. I feel really comfortable around you guys for some reason, so thank you.
You're
Well, that's
welcome.
what we
Feel
do.
free.
Yeah, we're really
It's election year too. So.
Well, thank you so much for having us, and we'd like to come back again after I would hope we can stay in touch with you guys at least once a year, for sure, to give you guys updates. And it's an election year. If you would like us to come in once it's been decided who else is joining you, who's been victimized by the process, but after, we can come in and do this again, or we can do it beforehand and come in and just, this is who we are and what we do and the services we offer, so that whoever's coming onto council will know what we do. If you want to
thank
just
you
reach
for what
out
you
through
do.
either Ava or the information that you've received to either Doris or myself, we'd appreciate
We
it.
have Leslie.
Perfect.
She's our navigator. She finds everything.
Thank you, Leslie.
But thank you for what you do in all our communities. We certainly do appreciate it. So.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, next up, we have Manager Kuzmic. Parks and Rec Manager, sorry.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is our Q2 update. Should be fairly quick, but let's start going on with it. So fire hall ceilings, ceiling fans, as you can see, it's complete. We finished that in last month, late April, and it came in under budget. We had budgeted 15,000, it came in to just about 8,000 bucks. So. Security camera upgrade is the next one. Supposed to be summer of 2025. I just got off the phone with him this afternoon, and he's received all the equipment. He's just testing it all in his office or his shop, and he's going to come start installing them in the middle of May. So we should have it all installed by the end of May.
Okay, so do we know the locations?
We have the landfill, the new shop at the landfill. Public Works building is getting an upgrade. I believe I'm adding a couple different ones in the library and upgrading all our systems so it's real user friendly and easy to do. So
Anything at the splash park?
no cameras have got to run power out there. We do have some portable trail cams that we installed out there last year after we were getting all that vandalism. So we'll put those back up once we open the park, and hopefully we can catch some people vandalizing that.
So this facility here is getting an upgrade here?
Different system, yeah. Same system, just a newer way of using it, so.
Okay, any questions? Go ahead, Councillor Curtis.
Thank you very much. He says that the cameras and that were ordered. Do we have any cost to date on any of that?
No, it'll be close to, the estimate will be close to that 40,000. It'll probably be a little bit over, but I'll use some of the extra 50,000 for facilities that you guys allot every year to top that up.
Okay,
Moving right along, we have our chemical storage bin for the Parks building. That is ordered and should be here any time. So it's coming in at roughly about 5,000, 6,000 bucks. So it'll be under budget as well, but Q3, I'll update the total price on that. The sprayer for Parks, that is here, it's complete. We received it. Again, it's a little bit under budget, about 27.5. We budgeted $3,000 for it, so.
and this fits in the back of our ATV or,
Yeah, it can pull, it's a pull behind, so,
oh, it's a pole.
yeah. It's got our booms, it'll come down, it's a pretty nice piece, so.
Excellent, and we're licensed, right?
Yeah, our Dave Rutherford, our Parks lead hand, just finished his certification, and we are good for pesticides, so. Then we have our, what do we got here next? Parks and Open Spaces refresher. We're just at the beginning of the season, so we really haven't even started that yet. But again, some of the bigger projects we'd like to see are redo some flower gardens, hopefully work along the Highway 16 coming into town, fix up those berms a bit, and what other projects we can do. I know we got our North Circle Drive. We wanted to pay a little bit of attention to that flower garden and maybe redo the sign and area there a little bit as well, so. And still open for suggestions if you guys see something.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, like, a lot of people have talked to me, and even people on council, about our new signs at each end of town, like when you're coming down the highway, where that one side is so much lower, just that post. Is there like a little attractive box of plastic that we could snap together? Like, have you ever seen a post cover? They snap together? And if we could get something like that so that lag doesn't look, or build a bunch of dirt up around it, it just, people say, why would you leave it like that? You know, it does bother me a little bit when it just doesn't look right. Yeah,
Something we can address first.
yeah, like any, like siding place, you buy siding and soffits and stuff, then they fit around a post. And they just clip together.
And it covers up, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
It would then just take it to the ground.
We can,
Right.
Probably have to go through Department of Transportation to get something done with that.
No, we wouldn't even talk to them.
Yeah, that's what.
yeah, we can definitely look into that. Those are pretty easy fixes.
Oh, yeah, or just even to put some dirt around it, level it out or something, to just,
It's
yeah,
not
just,
eye-catching.
yeah, it's nice when your eyes are drawn to the sign and not that,
down.
why is that post sticking out?
Yeah, no, that's, yeah, those are good suggestions, so we can definitely work on that. anything that makes it more eye appealing, that's what I'm trying to do with this 50,000, so.
Excellent.
We have our caretaker at the social center. We have a current lady we use. She is working for us. She's under contract while one of our other ladies our laborers were off on injury. That lady came back. Her contract ends at the end of May. So I'm hoping to start the new social center contract with her at the end of May. So we've had her at a few events right now, the past 3 or 4 events, where someone's actually there attending the whole time, and things have been working really well, so.
And are we gonna start like an inventory, a checklist for this person to go through and make sure people aren't walking away with all the pans that are no longer there?
Exactly. My plan is to, in the next week or 2, go into the city, start replacing that stuff with that money that was given. We'll buy an engraver, we'll engrave it all, we'll have a checklist before and after, so we know what's going on.
Excellent. That's a start.
Hopefully keep some of our stuff there.
Well, just having somebody on site,
It makes a big difference.
it certainly does. So Councillor Curtis is not to be in unplugging toilets and stuff in the middle of the night and. That was fun. Of course. Electrician, plumber.
That's awesome. And our next is our parks truck. I did talk to Tony yesterday night, and he said he received 1 vehicle of the 2 that were ordered, and the other one should be here within 3 to 4 weeks.
Oh, what about the tariff? Okay.
And finally, we have our triple deck mowers. So we've received both triple deck mowers. They're at the shop. They're all done, ready to go. Parks is ready to start mowing with them later this week, so.
So how are we gonna do this comparison? Like if you, like the breakdown of what, the actuals by owning and leasing, like have you got a plan in place for that, Manager Kuzmic?
At the moment, I don't. I do have a vague idea, but I want to talk with Tony a little bit and see more what his maintenance was on over all these and what the wear and tear is as opposed to the cost.
Yeah, and I think that 2 years from now, that information, comparable, hopefully, you know, things all being equal, you know, inflation and stuff, that it just help, the council of that day to make a better informed decision.
Yeah, for sure. And that was my Q2 update. Anyone has any questions? Simple, straight to the point.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay, no, we're good. So we'll move on to the next piece of yours.
That is the request for Rangers to have a dressing room for the 2026 season. You've all read the letter. Now we know we were gonna get back to them with an answer, and today's the day, I guess. We decide you decide what you want me to get back to them with.
Okay, and do you have any other information for council regarding the request from the commissioner of the Junior A League or anything like that?
So the Vipers team that was here is sold, and they'll be moving to Pincher Creek. Now, there was talk he may have one from Thorsby coming in here or Mornville, but I haven't seen anything like that yet.
They didn't have a team in Morinville before.
He did say if they were bringing a team in, if a new team came to town, that they would be willing to rent their own trailers for their own dressing room.
Okay.
But that, we'll see.
Okay, so we're here to address the Junior B's request to have a permanent dressing room. Manager Kuzmic, is there rules in place to have a dressing room? Do we ask, or we just give them a key and we walk? Or like, what is our expectation when we do this?
So my expectation and what we've done since I've been here is they do get a key and they use the facility with respect. We don't charge them anything. They just get free access to it.
And how do you see this if we were to go ahead with their request? How do you see it, everyday operations of the facility?
Makes it a little tougher. But I'm sure we could do it. I just would prefer You know, maybe we look at getting into some kind of an agreement where if it did need to be terminated, we can terminate it at any given time, and is it worth charging a fee for it, right?
Okay, do you guys want to discuss this right here, right now? And this is a working meeting, so this is what we do. Okay, so we'll start with you, Councillor Bullock.
So currently, right now, there's no written agreement for this?
Correct.
Okay, no, well, I think we need a written agreement no matter what we do with anybody using it. I know I'm not a big hockey guy, don't know what goes on in there very much, but I'm sure I can lean on everybody else, but I fully think we need an agreement no matter what we do.
Okay, so sort of like an agreement you're talking about, like how the room would be respected and used and, okay, well, common sense.
I think not just the room itself, if they're successful in getting a room, they're representing our town and should be held to that level where the facility totally uses and anytime they're outside of town. It's part of who we are, right?
Yeah, like they have a very good code of conduct on the team and stuff. But, you know, like, let's say Saturday afternoon, would we appreciate if there was usage of the room and like when they weren't playing or weren't practicing, even though the room is theirs, you know, like what type of behavior would we feel would be appropriate? And I think we should take a look at that because it wouldn't be just a place for people to hang out inside of our rink.
Not really a clubhouse kind of atmosphere, and I've seen that happen where they do get rooms, then they're coming and going at all hours, right? Start to skip and play shinny for nothing and stuff like that. I think if we did have a contract and guidelines, it would go a lot smoother.
Okay. Councillor Worrell.
There we go. Yeah, so just on that point, their letter had actually 3 asks, and one of the asks was about contract, one was center ice, and the third one was the dressing room. And sort of we're morphing 2 of their asks together, which is something that I had brought up as supporting before, and I do agree with it. We may be saying no to a physical contract, but that doesn't mean that every group shouldn't have a user's agreement. And I really think that's a strong decision that should be there for every group. And the user agreement isn't automatically standard. It is different for different groups. So if the decision of this council is to allow them to have a dressing room, then their user group agreement should address that we are giving you a dressing room. Some of the asks that might be there, like it might be very viable to say we are asking with notice that we would have it for tournaments or something, because that's sometimes a hard one. They hadn't seemed to object to that prior. My stance is still the same, that I do believe the use of a dressing room allows for recruitment, and I do believe that we have more than enough space. I think some of our reluctance before was based upon concerns we were hearing about space, and I think the space had to do with who used it, not whether it was usable. I still stand by that. I still think there's more than enough ability to have one room, and I think when you see a team trying to grow or recruit, as crazy as it is, I do believe having a room that has your name on it, that is a little bit of something special, even the minor hockey kids get excited about it. So in that vein, I would be supportive of them being able to have their own room. I do believe that they would absolutely work with the groups as far as if we said, could tournaments have access? You know, that's an
Well, it
easy
would have
one.
to be written right into
And that could be in that user agreement. I believe that would satisfy 2 out of their 3 asks, because we can call it a contract, we can call it a user agreement, but everyone should have one. And it should stipulate like when you can access it. I know a lot of times if you have a dressing room, sometimes their access to it might be on the way home from a game. They come in late, the bus gets unloaded, they unload. But it should say, you know, things like you're able to access it, it must be in and out at this time, can't access it outside of, you know, whatever the case may be. But I think they would appreciate it, because it's really hard to tell people they break rules or they're not following rules if you don't give them the rules up front. So in that way, I would be no problem with giving a user agreement, which is one of the asks, and the dressing room. And then I still think we do need a discussion, just one way or the other, because there was the ask about center ice, and pretty soon they're going to be coming to Dan asking how to lay that down. So we might as well get all these things dealt with so we're not running into this again. For me on the center ice, I still hold a little bit where I did before, that it depends what your word of center ice means. If it's literally physically over top of the center, as the Vipers were in the 3rd year, then I still stand that I believe that should be a Vegreville logo. If it is offset to the center, like could be done and then offered up to all user groups, I'm completely in favor of that. So that's all I got.
Okay. So no matter what our decision well, there will be some user group agreements for every user group. We understand that, okay? I mean,
That's very typical, so,
but we don't really have that in place right now, do we?
No.
but I got copies of some of them.
Okay, so then let's get typical. Okay, so, Counselor Lemko, your thoughts on a full-time dressing room for the junior Bs with some rules, especially if the tournaments, they give up access and stuff like that?
Yes, Your Worship, I have no problem with having the dressing room for our junior B team. That's been a staple here in many, many years in our community, and many kids have had the opportunity to participate as a junior B. If our admin, Manager Kuzmic, and his team can draft up an agreement and feel confident that they can manage this, then I'm in full support.
What about logo at Center Ice? What are your thoughts?
Likewise,
You're okay with that?
I am. It's either our egg picture on the thing, our Vegreville logo, or this year being the anniversary for the junior Bs, I believe it'd be appropriate to have their logo at Center Ice. That's just my feelings.
Okay. Counselor Curtis?
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think that all the points here are valid, and as long as we have those things drawn up, I think, again, like the access for minor hockey and other tournaments, whatever it may be, is important. For Center Ice, yeah, if they're, again, here for 50 years, they have potentially provincials coming, it would probably look nice to have it at Center Ice. That being said, there are many different user groups in there too, so as long as we can make it fair.
Okay. Counselor Barry?
Thank you, Worship. I have a question first. The exclusive use of, or with conditions, allows them to leave their equipment in the room? And is there any thoughts of still continuing through to have a different area where they could dry that out or store it? So that what I'm saying is that if they can leave their equipment in there, then of course in that agreement, there'd have to be allowances. If this tournament is coming in, they have to get all that stuff out.
Right. There'd be room. We have extra storage space that they could store their gear in, or they take it home. For one weekend, it's not a big deal. I wouldn't go the extra mile and build something different than if you grant them the air room.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Well, I support youth sports. So I think that if it is advantage for them to have their own room for recruiting and et cetera, and we have the space, and I'd support that. And I think for this year, I'd agree with the logo at the Center Ice just because of the fact of 50 years. And I knew about junior Bs in town here way before I ever moved to this town. So I think that they represent the town well. So I think I'd
So was it last year or this year?
Last year.
Last year they requested.
Last year, yeah.
Last
They
year.
were-
It's not 50.
Oh,
Yeah, they were happy with where they put it, so every user group, so everyone that uses our facility
last
has
year.
an option to put something.
I think maybe when it comes to Center Ice, what we should do is talk to our marketing team. I mean, there's opportunity for us to sell that logo at Center Ice.
yeah, that makes a difference. to me.
Sponsor group.
That makes a difference to me.
So, I mean, I think what we should do is take a look at that and see if there is a business in the community that would like to buy it. We sell, there's not any good spots on the boards left, but Center Ice is a pretty important place to sell your advertising.
Second only to the Zamboni.
Sure.
Okay, so, and I don't have an issue with that, but if we set a price for Center Ice, would we permit a user group to pay the price and have Center Ice? Just because that might be a question that comes if we put that out, so we just need to know what we'd be willing to do.
It would, well, if we set a price and to give it out to the community, I know that there's been a people on a waiting list for the boards for a long time.
Yeah.
We could sell the ones against the stands real cheap.
Yes. We just have to put in the ones like Edmonton where it
Yeah.
changes.
Actually, yeah, that's done on, like on TV.
Yeah, when it, because it's just a whiteboard in there.
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
keep switching around.
No.
Okay, so we're gonna discuss, the center ice at a different time, but the dressing room is where we're at now, so. And you're good with, the yearly use?
Yes.
Okay, well, you have your answer, get back to them, the center ice. We're gonna talk with our marketing team here and see what we can come up with.
Perfect, thank you.
And if you could, you say that you have access to other user agreements, and again, all user groups should have at least some code of conducts and what our expectations are, with using the facility.
So they usually get a code of conduct, but it's easy enough to, they do have access to user agreements, so.
Okay.
Actually, I just want to, sorry, the only thing I would say at the user groups, just obviously you're going to see what some of the other ones do. And the only reason I'm saying this is I know we get a lot of things vandalized and whatnot at times, and it costs us a lot of money for upgrades. Some of the places in the city, and I'm not picking on any specific one of our user groups, but when I had to rent ice doing stuff with Summer, we actually had basically a thing that within our user group, when we rented the ice, that did state that during this time period, we were actually responsible for the dressing room, and if there had been something broken within it, like we assumed liability of it. And maybe there is a way to start, because what I feel sometimes happens with some sports is, obviously as they're getting older, they have to be looked at, but between coaches and between parents, there should be somebody who's going in these rooms and assuring what state there are. And sometimes I find that our arenas become a drop-off spot, and we have to remind them that it's not a babysitting drop-off spot. It is fine for somebody to drop people off when their kids off and do other things while they're on the ice, but you don't leave additional children to run around just because it's a rink. So, you know, if we can look into what is possible on there, for us, basically, in the user one that I had, it was with Twilliger. At the time, Twilliger had a set amount that said that they would be charged back if there was damage to the rooms. So just suggesting to look at that, and I'm not even saying it's for our current users, but for all ICE users, because we spend a lot of money to run the facility, and we also spend a lot of money to repair the facilities at times, so,
I think if you do it for one, we do it for all,
yeah.
and it's easy to write in there, so.
Okay, I guess that's it for there. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Up next, we have Director LaFave.
Thank you, Your Worship. Correspondence is addressed to the town of Vegreville, Vegreville Public Works and Utilities. Good day. This year's fair will be held on August 6th to 10th, 2025. Your department has, in the past, generously helped us in many ways. We would like to have your help again this year. With regards to garbage pickup, would it be possible for us to use 6 extra dumpsters? We will let you know where to place them closer to the fair. Our groundskeeper would be able to help locate these places when the dumpsters arrive. Could they be brought to the grounds on Thursday, August 1st, or any time prior to this? Also, we require the dumpsters to be emptied once on each day of the fair. Could your operator empty the dumpsters early in the morning on August 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th? A special request that the dumpsters by the horse barn areas along the west fence be emptied first as activity begins early there. Would 6 a.m. start be possible for the 5 days of the fair? We will not require the dumpsters to be emptied in the late afternoon during the fair. Should you have any questions or concerns, please contact me at the office. Thank you in advance for your consideration of our requests. Sincerely, Rachel Farr.
Okay. And your thoughts? Is this standard or is this more than what they normally ask for?
I don't believe it's more. We typically pick up twice a day, but I'll get Tony in touch with her and see, because we typically pick morning and evening there, and usually it's reasonably full, so.
Okay, so we're gonna need to be tracking and itemizing everything for a different file that we're working on. So everything that we're doing there for the year, if you could start a file on that, that would be good. Hey, what are your guys' thoughts? Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
And I think it's great that we support a local charity, and just like any other charity around town that we support, we offer what we can and when we can do it, so.
Okay, Councillor Curtis.
Thank you very much. Any financial implications, some of the days around the weekend or days that we aren't doing the pickup, is that any will we be calling people out on overtime and that to empty it?
We have, and we have charged and billed this service out in the past. So there's an expense to run the trucks. If they're starting at 6 on a regular workday, there's a shift differential. If they're on weekends, then it's an overtime, and that's how it works. But we've billed that back, so.
And as long as we're tracking it. So everybody's good? Yeah. Okay, we're good there. Now the big one.
Yeah. This is addressed to the town of Vegreville, road closure request. The Vegreville Agricultural Society will be holding the annual country fair on August 6th to 10th, 2025. The parade will be on Wednesday, August 6th at 11 a.m. Parade lineup will be at 10 p.m. at the Vegreville Composite High School, heading east down 55th Ave, turning south down 60th Street, and then east down 45th Ave, and finishing at the Ag Society grounds. We are requesting from council to have the above roads closed for the parade, which typically lasts 1 hour. We're also requesting barricades and the manpower to have the roads closed during this time. Sincerely, Rachel Farr, Office Manager.
Okay, so we're gonna start with Councillor Bullock. What do you think of this parade route?
Well, it seems to be well received, so can't really argue with it, obviously.
You like it, I thought.
Yeah, I do like it.
Yeah, that's why I asked you
It's
first.
easy to go. That's a great way to go, and takes away from downtown a little bit, but seems like it's more or well attended out in that area anyways, and easier to navigate.
Okay, it looks like nobody's jumping up and down. Oh, Councillor Lemko.
Yeah, I like the parade route from previous, but it seems like the older you get, the longer it is.
That could be true. Okay, well then I guess we're good with that one too. Go ahead.
We'll have an RCD that'll come down to council on Monday for the road closure.
Thank you. Okay, now we're moving on to Director Saskew. You probably don't have anything right now. You want to, maybe in your highlights is where you want to go to, or you got something right now? Okay. Okay, we're going to move on to CAO Ling.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. In front of you is a memo regarding the municipal policing members. Let's start that again. Municipal Policing Committee members. At the April 28th council meeting, council passed bylaw 07-2025, Municipal Policing Committee bylaw. As per the bylaw, council needs to appoint 4 members of council to the committee. Once these members are appointed, each member will need to complete their enhanced security clearance. These appointments will be communicated by a level 1 public engagement process. The names of each appointee will be listed on the Town of Vegreville's website. So we are asking that Town Council appoint 4 members of council to the Municipal Policing Committee at the next regular Town Council meeting.
Crickets.
Your Big Panther playing.
Okay.
You're looking for volunteers, right?
Well, first of all, I'd like to know if there's anybody that really wants to be on this committee.
I'm willing to be on it.
Willing, or you want to be?
Okay, I want to be.
There you go. That's what I like, honesty. Is who else would like to be a member of this committee?
I do.
Okay. Now, you, in saying this, no, I'm not, I'm saying, we don't know when the meetings are gonna be because there's gonna be members of the public.
Yes, there'll be 2 members of the public, but also attending the meetings will be the CAO, Protective Service Manager, the Staff Sergeant of the detachment, or the appointed,
So then we'd almost have to say that these meetings would have to be after normal working hours.
or they're, because we're also going to have an admin support there, so that will likely be Leslie that will be coming in, because we have to all,
You didn't volunteer.
whoever sits in the room needs to have an enhanced security.
Yeah, we gotta go through all this.
Yes, so, and
my
that's
end.
kind of the push to get the 4 counselors named, so we can get all these security clearances.
Okay, well, we have 4 that put their hands up. And, Counselor Rawawa doesn't need, she already has that clearance.
I probably have it, but just in case I'm not around.
What, did you do anything wrong the last couple of years? Okay, well, then you have your 4 volunteers, actually 4 that want to be on this committee. So we'll start the process, they can get fingerprinted tonight, and
We will bring the RCD down to council on Monday night for you.
okay.
All right, thank you.
And if anything changes in the meantime. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for volunteering. Like, I want it to be sure that you want to be on this committee, because, you know what, it can be, it will be challenging, I guarantee you, that trying to change the direction or what the community's needs are, and it's frustrating right now with the federal approach to policing and especially when it comes to the justice side and stuff, so.
Hug-a-thuck, you mean? You don't like the hug-a-thuck approach?
No, I don't, I'm not all for that, no. Okay, and now we have one from the Ag Society again. This is addressed to me. We would certainly love to have you join us on stage, bring greetings on behalf of Town Council of the Town of Vegreville this year. Extreme Kubota Country Fair, nice. The opening ceremony's on August the 6th. Well, you can let them know that I will be there. And I'm pretty sure that council would love to take on some shuttle work again this year if we could.
It's fun.
Yeah. Chicken race? Are you guys in or?
It'll be really slow. I'll do it if they have it, but I think they're doing something. Only if you want.
Do they have a class for mature chickens? Okay. Okay, so we're definitely in for that. Okay, so, round table, Councillor Barry, what's happening on your side of town?
I really don't have anything to report. I think that everything's going pretty good.
Well, I hear you're getting a new neighbor about 4 doors down.
He's moving in right now.
Dr. Frank and his
Yes,
senior
As I was coming
and his
down
wife
here, I
are
see
moved back to town.
the van is in there, and they're taking everything into the place right now, so that'll be a good neighbor.
Right on the corner from St. Martin's.
Yep.
Yeah, the 3-car garage, yeah, they really miss town, so I talked to her a while ago, and they said they were looking, and then Barbara told me the other day that her mom and dad are back, so,
Oh, nice.
yeah. Okay, Councillor Bullock.
I don't have much, but I did have a local resident stop by my place when I was raking my grass, and he happened to be one of the people that signed the petition regarding the Foxview area.
rezoning?
The rezoning and stuff like that, and he had changed his position after he attended the public hearing. I was glad to hear that everybody got to hear the truth, and it's out there for everybody, and good to know it's getting around.
Well, you know us, we love a good public hearing. Councillor Warwick.
Okay, I did have a couple. One, Manager Newton had helped me with, but I just thought I would bring it up in case anybody was watching. I got a call from somebody who said, and I'm assuming they're discussing it as being it was on one of the social media pages or whatnot, but asked me whether we have a bylaw outlawing clotheslines, which I thought was very strange since there's a number of clotheslines out there. However, I did email Manager Newton, asked him, he has said that there isn't a bylaw, that, certainly there's certain bylaws about where you can put in certain heights of things, but that there isn't a bylaw. So if anybody's wondering, that is not a thing. However, I guess the other thing I would suggest is there are a lot of bylaws that are out there. It's not always easy to navigate them online. I think that's fair to say. If you don't know what something's named, it might be a little harder to find. But I would suggest that probably admin will be able to give a much better handle on what is and isn't accurate. So reach out, send that email, ask about a bylaw, because from my understanding of this phone call, there's a lot of, discussion back and forth about bylaws and what is there, and some of it isn't very accurate. So just reach out if you have the question. Apparently, what was stated was that we do have a bylaw against clotheslines. There was also some other, things they're looking at, and some people had stayed back that maybe we weren't understanding the use of the clothesline because we, are not a rural council. Apparently none of us are rural. I'm not sure. I'll only speak for myself, who grew up on a farm and still has one. I'm quite aware of what a clothesline is. So having said that, just call admin and get real information. Another call that I got was just about the landfill. They were noticing that the hours had changed. So it's summer hours again. And there was just a little concern that they said they had come a few times before. They think the landfill is great, that there's been, they are really liking the changes that were there. So it was a very positive comment that I got, that it was much better and improved for driving up. You weren't facing as much, seeing, potential of riding over, debris and whatnot. So they thought that was really good. They did wonder, because they said that we have quite long hours compared to some places. So they kind of wondered whether our hours need to be as long or could potentially be staggered with some later starts. So that was just thrown at me. So I'm just mentioning that one. And then one more call, and that was it. So I guess it's a bit of a question and then maybe an ask, is they were asking if the town currently is on a fire ban, because obviously we're not, just because the county is, but okay, so there was a no. So we don't have a current fire ban, so people can have fires as long as they have their permit that you require. So my one thing that I'm wondering if we could consider, if it would be difficult, I know if we do put a fire ban on, we will pop that up onto the website. But sometimes people wonder, hey, was it on and I just don't see it and whatnot. If you drive into a county, for example, when you drive past the signs, you'll see the big sign that'll say, fire ban. I'm wondering if we could just have something that's always on our main page when you go on, that's like, is there a fire ban? And just the yes, no that could be there, so there'd be a really quick and easy find. Because I've had over the years lots of times that I get calls to say, hey, I heard it's on Minburn County. We know you set your own. Is it on or off? And we have to check. And I get, if we do have one, we typically do post it. But if there was just something that was always there on that front page and it became a yes or no, I think it would eliminate a lot of calls. So that's all I got.
How much of a problem would that be, Sabrina?
Cool. It'd be very easy to do. Yeah, and again, I don't want to tell you how to restructure page, because I'm certainly not a good one when it comes to, I'm certainly not great when it comes to, websites or anything. But if it is easy enough, I just think it would save a lot of, a lot of calls and inquiry, and just the quick little tab that's always there of, is there a fire ban within town limits? And it becomes a yes, no, or something like that. So awesome. Thank you.
Okay, well, that was easy.
Yeah, never gotten something so easy before.
Dr. Sabrina,
There we go.
she's a fixer. Councilor Curtis.
Thank you very much. Not too much from me. I did see, again, online some comments around bylaw not getting back to people, and I'm not sure whether those comments were just directly to our bylaw or that after hours line. But CO Ling, do you know of any issues we've been having or anything? Because I believe we talked about this not too long ago as well.
I have not heard of any issues. There's been no complaints coming towards me. So, actually, if residents do have concerns that they're not getting back in a timely manner, if they can contact, like, either email myself or call the office and speak with me, and then at least we are aware that, and we can look at the situations, but I haven't heard anything.
Excellent. No, that's good. And again, online, take it for grain of salt. And yeah, nothing else other than welcoming all the summer students that are starting at the town for the summer. So that's what I got.
Yeah. Councilor Lemko.
Your worship, good day.
Good day.
I had a couple calls. One was regarding, with all the fires that are going on in the counties and the loss of barns and houses, a resident called and asked about what have we got any possible mitigation for areas that are tall grass that could whip up a storm with the wind if somebody threw a cigarette butt out or something or started a fire. And this area, the one resident was in behind the last row of houses that borders St. Mary's High School and south towards the walking trail. The grass is tall and potentially can catch on fire through a cigarette butt thrown out or something. So I don't know if we have anything in place to do that, to look at that, should that concern arise with the dry weather and the wind. She was concerned and asked me to bring it up. Secondly, somebody called and asked when the fourplex on 50th Street would be taken down. And from my understanding, we're in the process of taking down derelict houses. As you can see that, I believe on the way here today, one of the houses by the Sunshine Club that's boarded up is now in the back of a gravel truck. I'm not sure if they were going to take the other one today or not, but I just seen the one going down. So it's nice to see that we are moving on this property, and everything takes time. That's all I got.
So that property is on 50th Street. Is, who owns that? Is it a WJS house?
WGS was renting.
Renting. Okay. So is there any residents in that house anymore? One side is boarded up, so typically do we reach out to the homeowner, to the person paying the taxes and ask what their plan is, or?
Yeah, just working with bylaw on it. In fact, today we've given him the information of the owner and contact information. He'll be contacting him probably today or tomorrow. So that's how I know that it's, WGS is not the owner, but a renter.
Okay. Okay. Well, I can honestly say that I've been working with, through some municipal enforcement issues with Sandra and with Manager Kuzmic, and we're pushing things as fast as we can. We will be seeing some changes to a bylaw here fairly quickly, and we are dealing with a lot of problems with a few houses in town. And I know the residents are getting upset, but the thing is, we can only, by the law, we can only do so much. Luckily, we've come to some arrangements with some of the landlords in these facilities, and the eviction process has started, and we are forcing some cleanup action and stuff right now as we speak. But it is a process. It is definitely a process, and it would be nice if we could just win and hook on and pull people out, but obviously, I've been warned that that's not a good thing, so it ain't gonna happen. Other than that, things are starting to look pretty good around town. It's greening up real nice, and to your question, Councillor Lemko, about the tall grass, I know for a couple of years, even at the golf course, they've asking the fire department to do controlled burns on some of the tall, and it just, the wind just will not stop, even though the apparatuses that we have that were more mobile to get in off the road with some of the stuff, it's just, if we could just find a day that there's no wind, but it's just not happening, so. Anyway, everything else, like I said, around town's looking good, and things are greening up, the leaves are coming out, and we just need a little bit more rain, so. Okay, that's all I got. Let's go to director highlights, and we'll start with Director Lefebvre.
Thank you, Worship. A quick update on Prosperity Park. We're working closely with the shallow installers, so it'd be ATCO Electric and ATCO Gas at this point. So we're out there again today, just doing some realignments on some of the vaults that are going in, but things are coming along nicely. ATCO Gas is on site as well, starting some of their shallows. So that's the last we need. Atco Electric is looking at end of May to be completed. Once they're done, or when they're done a section, then Atco Gas comes in behind and lays in their product, and they're thinking June is their completion date for that. The forced main sewer lift, we have a second floor pump manifold that we're changing out. It's one of the last things to do with our forced main and lift station project. We didn't know how long it would take for them to do. It was gonna be 2 days or 1 day. So we've rented a portable mobile pump on a trailer, and we're actually utilizing our bypass pumping system we put in. And I don't care if it takes them 3 days to get it done, we're fine. As opposed to before, we were limited to a 9-hour period and we had to pump something somewhere. So it's pretty nice to have in our first time using it. It's working well. And unfortunately, our SDAB member for many years, Murray Armitage, has let us know that he will not be continuing in his position. Training started yesterday and then today, I believe, online. And he just got a hold of us and he said that his computer's too old to manage the training and tells him that he should be done. So we're sorry to see him go. He was good to have there. So we'll be sending out the information and doing some advertising right away to replace that position for us. And that's all I have.
I see we've been active in some back alleys with Public Works.
We have been, as they've been drying up, so we can get in there and do some work in there. We have definitely been cleaning them up as best we can, and we know which ones are notorious or problems, so we can then go back and start doing shots and see what options we have to improve the drainage. But yes, for sure.
Excellent. Yeah, I've been noticing more and more driving around town that we're getting more active and things are getting drier, so we can do some shaping and bringing in some more fill in there. Any other questions for Director Lefebvre? Okay, you got off easy today, but.
Did do, thanks.
Okay, let's move on to Director Saskew.
Thank you, Worship. I have our 2025 assessment and property tax notices. They'll be mailed out on May 8th, 2025, so that is on this Thursday. Taxes are due June 30th and can be paid via cash, debit, or check at our main office. We also accept e-transfers and credit card payments. The e-transfers are through an email, which we have on the back of the tax notices going out. And for credit card payments, we only accept via option pay with a fee built in on our website. So that is to ensure that we're collecting the net taxes owed to the municipality. We also have the TIP program available for monthly tax installments. As always, if anyone has questions or concerns, our admin office is always happy to help. I'm also happy to report that our 2024 year end is finally done and all annual submissions have been completed. This includes all related grant reporting. So for every large grant that we get from the government, we have to do a annual summary, whether the project is ongoing or completed, and those are called SFEs. So those have also been submitted before the May 1st deadline. One other thing I have is our summer students started on Monday with their training being held right after our annual safety meeting. With students starting, I'll be doing submissions to the Canada Summer Jobs Grant. In 2025, we had been funded for $21,000, which is a total of 10 summer students for the 8 weeks. So exciting times at the admin office.
Well, it's nice that the tax notice, the assessment forms are ready to go. And we can get that done, and we wrapped up another year.
That is correct.
And we weren't short money, there was no, our auditor said we were good.
Yeah, our auditor said we were good. We had to
We're
move some
missing-
reserves around. We had to move our savings around for the asset retirement, but overall, we're still in a good cash position, and we have upcoming grants and debenture and everything. We should be in a better cash position by the end of June would be my hopes.
Excellent. Go ahead, Councillor Royal.
2 quick questions. So is the e-transfer, is that a new option this year?
We've had it for a couple years, but finance@vegreville.com is an auto deposit that we do have available. They need to just make sure that they put what their tax roll is or their last name, because sometimes those are hard to track down. The good news is we can tell what email it comes from, so we could always just email the person back and say, hey, what were you trying to send us in for this money for? But yes, that comes right to our finance email.
Okay. I personally was one that was terrified of e-transfer at first because I was sure it was gonna like be a way to hack into my account, and now I don't
Right to
know.
Bangladesh.
Right there,
Yeah.
right? Now I don't actually know how to live without it. So I actually think it is a nice option. And so then I'm assuming if they're just adding that in, they could even potentially do it, say in two, I'm just thinking on runs of like, for me, I have daily limit on e-transfer, but you could do it, it didn't matter how many times, just input the info, okay?
Yeah, if you put in the subject, if you put your tax roll, that would be very helpful. So if you wanted to send us $1,000 increments, that would be fine.
Okay. Well, I think that's great. The easier and more ways we can give people, I think that's a good option. Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, just so everybody knows, if you pay with any type of a credit card, you will pay the interest, not the interest, the charges will be billed back to you.
Absolutely. So when you do go to enter, option pay is the only way we'll accept credit card payments. So when you enter in what you're paying for on option pay and the amount, that'll take you to the next screen and it'll show you what the fee is charging. So that's where you can accept or decline depending on what the fee is. So sometimes the fee is relatively small and sometimes it is a little bit higher. I actually think that they pre-authorize the card, and so if you have like a black unlimited card with high points, your fee is higher than if it's just a basic like general Visa or MasterCard. So the fee is not always tied to the amount, it's more so tied to what type of card you have. So they are making sure that we get, no matter what, the town gets exactly what is owed to us, and option pay keeps the difference.
Not us.
Yeah, so we don't get any extra kickbacks for that, we just get the net. So if you're owing us $2,500 and they charge you $2,700, we only get the 25, option pay is keeping the 200.
I'm glad that we switched to this because we were up to 40, 50,000 a year that we were losing. And you're right, the more points you get with your card, the higher the service charge is to the person accepting the card. And I've seen that in business forever. I mean, it was like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna use this card. It was like, wow, that cost me 7%. People don't realize that, right? Like 7%. So you can have your air miles or your trips or your stuff. So I'm glad
It's
it
also fair for every resident to pay 100% of their taxes.
was. Exactly.
A person wouldn't even have thought about that before, right? But it's an important catch.
Absolutely.
Okay, any other questions for Director Saskia? Okay,
Thank you.
CAO Ling, you have anything that you want to bring forward at this time?
Yeah, just quickly, just a couple things. First of all, I would like to thank council for allowing me the time that I needed in the last couple weeks. And I would like to send out a special thank you to senior management for stepping in. They did a wonderful job and still while keeping me somewhat informed where I needed to be. And I just wanted to update council because I've got an update during the meeting here. There's one particular property that municipal enforcement is working on yesterday and today. And just to let council know that this afternoon that trailer was towed.
Yeah, so if you live anywhere near North Circle Drive and notice that there's been a new campground started,
Yes.
yeah, we're working very hard to remove it. Okay, thank you very much. So for upcoming events, we have our council meeting coming up on Monday. Hopefully, we'll get, what time, Leslie, is the A.L. Horton class coming to the town here? One. So it'd be nice to have a few counselors, you know, so as we, oh, for sure. Yeah. I always let them sit in your seat, so.
Are we doing a little mock something for them at all?
Well, we could have a screaming match or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like that.
We could run down some other level of government if you want. Okay, then we're closed on the 19th. Everybody's closed. Okay, so don't come in here. And then everything else is pretty straightforward. So is there any other business of council at this time? Seeing none, we do have a couple of closed session items. So Councillor Berry makes the motion to go into closed session at 4:30. All those in favor? Carried.